hard template, use it. It's a very simplified example of a presentation. So again, it's very simplified. You don't necessarily need to use it as a template, so make sure yours is much more than this, but hopefully at least this helps you and give you some guidance as to what I'm expecting for your presentations. So just to kind of review the guidelines over again, the first part, we've done all of these things in our group assignments. So in the first few weeks, I had you guys identify the health problem, audience, what theory you're going to use, and write goals and objectives. So since those are things that we've already done in class, that's kind of where I want you to focus this particular mini presentation, because I want to make sure that your foundation, your logic, and your goals and things like that are all in line and that it makes sense for your full presentation. So what I'm showing you right here is eventually what you're going to have for your full presentation. And what I want you to do with the mini presentation is kind of use it like a short draft or practice run. Mainly, you're going to use it for feedback. The reason I do mini presentations, again, is so that I can make sure you're on track. So you don't have to have, the materials done and completed and fully have, little commercials. What you're going to use this for is to get feedback, and if you have a little bit done, you can present it and maybe show clips, but you don't necessarily have to have everything done. I mostly want to make sure that the first part is done really well, and then of course you're going to share with us your ideas that you're going to do for the second part. So just to reiterate, the first part is kind of like your academic presentation. So you're going to walk us through the issue, the problem, the theory, and the objectives as if you're presenting to your professor and peers in an academic setting. The second part is more so towards your target audience. And in some places you'll have to explain, but in other ways, if you're doing like an activity or a drama or a workshop or a commercial, have it be geared towards your target population. So some of you guys have started working on little videos and posters and things. So that's where those would go in the second half. Sort of those are the actual materials that you would use if you were going to actually give the health communication. So those are the two parts of the full presentation. And again, for the mini, I would like to see, development and strategy more developed and ready and solid. And then of course, for the second part, give us your ideas, clips, maybe some drafts of what you're thinking of doing. And all of this is for some feedback so I can make sure you're on track. And then that way, when you get to the full presentation, you'll be ready to go. The mini presentation, max 3 minutes. For the full presentation, you'll have up to 5 minutes. Start off with the health problem. Again, I just kind of typed this up, so it's just kind of a sample. So the example I'm using is sugary beverages. So kind of state, what's the importance of it? What are some statistics? Why is it a public health concern or problem? What are some consequences? What are some ways? It's a little bit of a lit review. So what are some ways that we know we can tackle the problem or issue? And kind of ending it and bringing it towards the problem that you're addressing and why. So kind of where are you filling in the gaps, or what problem are you addressing? So I kind of end it here with saying, if we can get kids to drink more water, replace sugary beverages, then that helps to fight childhood obesity. So really just putting the problem into context. Then you're going to talk a little bit about your audience. So you're going to say, instead of targeting children, what we really want to do is target parents of children who are under 10 in this area. This is how we're going to do it, because that kind of helps understand the context of your health communication materials. So in this example, we're going to go to PTA meetings, and we're also going to do it through flyers and maybe posters. And then kind of state, why this is important. We think, targeting parents is important because they're the ones who make decisions for their children, and that's who we're going to gear our messaging towards. So just talk a little bit about that. And this part is pretty brief. Then you're going to go into your theory. So you say, so the theory that we're using to help guide our health communication is, in this example, theory of reasoned action. So theory of reasoned action tells us that perceived consequences, helps shape attitudes. Significant others, whether it's friends or family, help shape subjective norms, both of which increase or, don't say increase or decrease, but attitudes and norms influence intentions, and intention directly leads to behavior change. So in our health communication, we're basing it off theory of reasoned action, but we're specifically going to target perceived consequences. So one of our taglines or messages, for example, is too much sugar leads to obesity. Again, I'm just kind of making this up on the fly. I just want to show you guys more or less in a simplistic way what I'm looking for. Then you might say, the other part of this theory that we're really going to target is subjective norms. So typically parents think, oh, kids don't like water and it's going to be hard for me to get them to drink water. So therefore, we're going to show how parents, how they can make drinking water fun for their kids. Make sure to state your goals. So you would say, overall, the goal of our health communication is to get parents to give more water to their kids so that they can replace it with sugary beverages and be healthy. Our main objectives, and if you'll notice, they are very much linked to the theory. So our main objectives are to increase perceived consequences, specifically related to drinking sugary beverages and its consequences around obesity. Our second objective is to increase subjective norms, or you can say maybe like positive norms that parents can get kids to drink more water, or we can get kids to think that water can be fun. So again, you can kind of see how those two very specific objectives relate to the theory and kind of the tagline or the messaging that I had proposed based on that theory. So everything is kind of in line and in sync with each other. So this is your academic portion of it. Then you're going to sort of again, for this presentation, you don't have to have material completed. We just want to get your ideas, and if you do have some stuff, you can show clips or at least give us an idea, and then we can give you feedback. So again, you're here. Some ideas, this is not part of the slide, but some ideas around materials and resources for communication. And you can show posters, you can show a short video, which is kind of like a commercial maybe. You can show an app, like maybe you have a design of an app that you would use for the health communication. You can do a short activity or demonstration. It could be a skit or a workshop that you're going to give. So if I were giving this population, we're going to make a pamphlet and send it to parents, and it's going to have this lovely poster that we created. Obviously, I didn't create this one, but this would be a poster that your group created. So you can say, our goal was to increase perceived consequences of sugar around obesity. So this is what this poster is trying to get at as far as that objective. Then you can say the next thing we're going to do, so it's a little bit different because we're trying to at least tackle, most of the different types of learning styles. So this one's more kinesthetic. So then you would say something like, The second thing we're going to do is we're going to go to PTA meetings and actually do demonstrations to show that water can be cool and it could taste really good. So here is a short video or an example of what our workshop would look like. And you can give a script, or you can literally sort of act out how you would give the workshop. So maybe you show a small video of you guys teaching, parents, and it just says, "Hi parents, we know that sugar not only affects our kids' behavior, but also their health. We're going to show you some fun ways to get your kids to stop, craving sugary beverages and start loving water." And maybe part of the demonstration is actually showing different flavors of water. Like, here's a watermelon flavor and a grape flavor and a strawberry flavor. So again, part 2 of your presentation is exactly geared towards your target population. So what health communication strategy are you going to use with them? So you would, if this was going to be a video, you can say, here's the video we're going to show. If it's a little workshop like this is, you can show a clip of you guys actually acting it out, things like that. So just kind of be creative with it. If it's a poster, in that sense, you can feel free to explain the poster or pamphlet or things like that. So again, the second part is, what type of strategies are you going to do for the specific target population? So I just wanted to give you kind of an example, kind of an explainer video, and some tips on how to do your mini presentation. Really, I just want you guys to have fun. Don't stress out. The technology might be challenging for some, so be sure to try and upload your video as soon as you can. That way you can troubleshoot if you need to. So again, just the first part, make sure you have your goals and objectives and your theory and rationale very solid, because that's the basis for your communication strategy. And for the second part, which is geared towards your target audience, just make sure you at the very least have some ideas that you can present, and you can get some feedback from that. Or if you have clips or example drafts of anything, you can show that too. A lot of this is not very, very specific because it's half, sort of academic and based on lecture, but the other half is really your own creativity and what you guys come up with. And from what I've seen, you guys are very talented and have, been able to show a lot of creativity and thinking outside the box and really innovative ways of thinking about health communication. So I really look forward to what you guys have to show in your videos, and we'll take it from there with the mini presentations and give you some good feedback. Okay, we'll see you guys in class.